There we go.
You gotta cue us up with the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good morning. Yeah.
All right. All right. Welcome to week 30 of What Did Prince Do This Week? We have Cassandra Bradley first in the chat as always. What up, my purples from the ATL? Wow, in the gym. It's so hard. Cassandra, you are my hero. I've never been to a gym. I'll never go to a gym. So you're working for both of us.
Damn, I said never go to the gym.
No. You're not going to take me to the gym. So I so admire what you're doing right now, Cassandra. And we got April from Tampa in the chat. We got Kimberly. Let's see. Can't wait till come 30. That's what I'm talking about. And we got a little space going on. And then we got Kim, West Fargo, North Dakota. All right. We got Nick Felden. I'm pretending it's 1984 and I'm watching the Purple Rain movie premiere on MTV. That's what I'm talking about,
okay,
Nick Felden.
Okay.
I love this.
So there was no internet back then, right? We all didn't have computers at home. Certainly didn't have no cell phones.
Nope.
You had to go outside.
Yeah.
But okay, we in the house watching MTV, and that's those who got cable can watch it, right?
That's right. Yes, because I don't think I had cable at the time actually, so I didn't see the movie premiere in real time.
I remember watching it and just amazed because there was a lot of newness on the screen. You know,
Yeah.
like wow, and there wasn't that many live events, like, well, not to say there wasn't live events, it was all live events, but it was just like there was nothing that was live that was of this type of culture of like Prince and this type of stuff, R&B and funk. You never see many live events, and the fact that it was on MTV, which it wasn't really on there like that anyway, so this was a big deal. Like, got some black folks out there. you know, it was thinking back at it, just watching it live when they were doing the interviews. It is everything now that the BET Award is, everything that we take for granted that we see on TV. That was a rare moment to, let's see what Eddie Murphy thinks about it, or Sheila E. or Little Richard, you know, these icons.
Yep.
Back in the day. But anyway.
Back in the day. And we got Drea Dances in the Shy, but their heart is still in Nice, France, because Drea Dances went on the Under the Cherry Moon excursion, which I wish I could have joined you guys. I could tell you had a blast. All right.
Pictures.
Yes, the pictures are amazing. And I'm so excited because we got C. Lee in the house.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just snatched my do-rag off and I'm ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
How y'all doing this morning?
We're doing great now that you're here, C. Lee.
I just had to start by saying that we all appreciate y'all. I don't know if y'all know how important y'all are to us. Y'all have created a revival. And if you old and country and from the South, the revival means something. So I need y'all to know that what y'all do for us each Saturday is y'all give us that purple energy. And we take that purple energy. And so I just can only hope that people are blessing y'all the way y'all are blessing us, because a lot of us look forward to spending this Saturday with you two, because y'all are giving us that purple funk, that purple energy that we can go out and fertilize the world. So let's get to fertilizing. I just want to thank y'all for that.
Aw, thanks
so much. Fertilizing. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm huge on revivals. Revivals are always my favorite time of year. That's one of the things I actually miss with my grandmother. And by the end of her life, though, for a very, very long time in my life, revival was an entire week.
Yep.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
And then by the end of her life, they could have done like 2 days, if it was 2 days. And I was like, what is going on?
They got stingy with the revival. They got stingy with it.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So we got Sister Charles from Houston. And let's see, we got Andre from Detroit. What up, though? Yes. Happy 40th Purple Rain. And we're going to talk all about Purple Rain after we talk about a little song called America. And then we got Christina from Minneapolis. Happy Purple Rain Day, everyone. We got Mooches from Philly, Mooches 26. We got Man Ray 10. We got Kim, our timekeeper. You're going to have to be keeping some time because we got a lot to talk about. And we got Lisa Williams. Hola. We have Me Love My Heart. We have Monk. I don't remember you being here in person, but I mean, in real time. So thank you for joining us if this is your first time. And if this is not your first time, my apologies. And then I don't have my Love Sexy button today. So we're going to have to say, Love Sexy. Yes. And then we got El DeBar in the house. And Kim said that they were tuned in to MTV that Friday night. And we got Ronald from sunny Maryland. We got Vanessa, who went to go see Omar last night. And I'm so jealous. We're going to talk about that too. And we got Real Line, the DJ. And we got Tanja all through the Purple Rain. And we got...
When somebody said that, watching that, I'm really about to embarrass myself. So just how country I was. When I tuned in to MTV to watch the premiere, I'm sure I knew that there were different time zones, but I just remember thinking, it's still daylight out there. This ain't good. Because, it got dark out there. And I was like, why is it daylight? Like, so anyway, even now when I watch the premiere, I'm like, why is it daylight? Because for me, movies premiere, nighttime. But of course, stupid boy from Clarksdale, they out there, y'all. So that's why. All right, that's it. We go on that. So yeah.
All right. And then let's see. Yeah, we can't wait to hear about Omar. And yes, the Purple Rain 4K Blu-ray is awesome. And we got Chris Bournet. And Lee, if you don't mind when you're not talking, if you don't mind, I apologize if you can mute yourself. I don't know why we cancel each other out sometimes. And I thought maybe it was my other setup, but it just seems to be me. All right. And then so we got Chris Bournet, we got Audria. Let's see, I was probably getting ready to go see the movie around this time 40 years ago.
Wow.
Love that. Love that, Audria. And then let's see. I only remember seeing clips of the Purple Rain on Entertainment Tonight back in 1984. My mother didn't have cable. Yes, I think I was with you. And we also got Ricky Wyatt in the house.
What up, Rick?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
It's good to have you here. Thank you for answering my bat signal.
You know it.
Yeah. And then we got El Michelle.
Real quick, Entertainment Tonight, man. I put that in like context. That was TMZ without the foolishness. Like it was just, that was the one place you could go. You get entertainment news, but it wasn't like they didn't have shade in the, they didn't promote the foolishness. Still was some journalistic integrity, involved back then. But so you could go there, at least the way it was presented to us. It was like, it was kind of like, let's celebrate these celebrities and what was going on. It wasn't like it didn't feel like they was trying to bring people down, which I think was a big difference in terms of the tone and how you as the viewer view this entertainment and news. It's a big difference when there's not a bias of like foolishness involved. It may almost seem like unreal to think about it now because all of it is sort of slanted with some kind of shadiness, but Entertainment Tonight was a big deal back then. What was it Lisa Gibbons and some of that?
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, but Brother D, what was our TMZ?
You said what was our TMZ?
What was? We had a TMZ.
Oh, well, a National Enquirer.
There we go.
Yeah. But they weren't on TV though. It was just that was a
right. I get you. There you go.
At the grocery store or something. But yeah, I get you. Absolutely.
All right, and let's see. Lee, I'm sorry. Can you mute yourself? And because I hear doubles. And then let's see. Yes. So actually not Tanja. Vanessa, when we get to the end and the music break, I want to hear more about the Omar show and more specifically Chris Robb, because I wasn't sure, did Chris Robb open for Omar or was Chris Robb and Omar's band or both?
Sure.
Or both. That would be really great to hear. And
shout out to Chris.
Yes, shout out to Chris. Chris is one of the most amazing musicians on the planet, and that he was opening for Omar is such a big deal. And I'm really, really just sad that I missed it. And I knew I was going to miss it. I didn't say it, talk about it, because I wanted to wait until it was all over. So I wouldn't be experiencing FOMO like I am anyway. So we have Blade Brown. We got Lee Christian. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys, and you got it. Yes.
Excuse me, what did you say?
You look nice tonight. At my home. Okay. And so we got Stone Freak in the house. We got Purple Cat Confetti. And yep, we can't forget about Howard Stern. Kenneth, thanks for letting us, reminding us. And then we got Chip and Sparrow. And let's see. All right. Oh, wow. Drea Dance's aunt worked at Entertainment Tonight.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. And then Nick Felden said E.T. was very neutral. And
Entertainment Tonight. Back.
And Chris Burnett says, great point, Michael. I missed the old Entertainment Tonight and the straightforward reporting about entertainment news and celebrities. All right. You're never late. Thank you for being here, Barbara. And Christina. All right. Got a report from about Sheila E. at the Dakota last night. And she was amazing. She mainly played songs from her Hella Funk E album. She played the drum kit the whole time. Oh, wow. That would have been something to see, seeing her play the drum kit the entire time. 6 sold out shows.
Damn.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
She like in her 60s something?
Oh, yeah. She's definitely in her 60s.
Damn,
yep. And mid to late 60s, not early 60s. And she's still doing it.
In a major way.
Oh, no. So, Vanessa, talk to us about Omar and Chris Rock now and then. I understand. And then we have KMS 1984. And yes, Sheila has 2 albums out now. Yep. Damn. And Bylar as well. And yes, we are very proud of Sheila and that she's still banging a gong. Yes, very much so.
She's 66.
66. Thank you, Kenneth. We really appreciate it.
The cool thing about music is that, unlike athletes, after a certain period of time, skills diminish. But say with musicians, you can just play till you're like 75. You know what I'm saying? 80, and still doing it, man. And, it's good that she's still out there, banging away. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with all of the other, I won't even say foolishness, but what? Hey, man, she got my support. Rock on.
Mine too. I've always loved Sheila, and I always will. All right, so I'm trying to learn how to with my janky setup, but here we go. All right, so let's do our housekeeping with the quickness because we got a lot of talk about. So we're week 30 again. What did Prince do this week? A very slow read of Duane Tudahl's Prince Studio Sessions book series through an interactive weekly online book club and Saturday salon, echoing the spirit of the Harlem Renaissance. We're here every Saturday at noon, and we're going week to week, not day to date in the book. You can follow the detailed schedule with this QR code or the bit.ly link, which is bit.ly/Prince Book Club. And you do not need the expanded edition, but I did not thank you, Michael D, because I did not. Hold it. Let me solo that. There you go. Thank you. I wasn't taking that in my luggage.
Yeah.
All right.
What?
So, I'm sorry. All right. And then these will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at MDean. Please subscribe, like, and help spread the word. Bring people into the Purple Revival. I love that, C. Lee. Thank you so much. And then we have our hashtag WDPDTW for why do people dance this weird? No, it's for why. What did Prince do this week? I'm trying to get you guys off so you remember what did Prince do this week, because a lot of of you don't. All right. Then we have our disclaimer. The state of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is an independent endeavor. And again, what did Prince do this week? What we know, thanks to Anil Dash, 1984, week 30, episode 81. Very exciting. So this week in 1984, there was one new song, one studio visit, one movie premiere, and one movie theatrical release. So again, we got a lot to talk about today. This is our calendar. For those of you who didn't join us last week, we talked about Nothing Compares to You and Feline, as well as a rehearsal. So if you missed that, you should definitely go back. The conversation was amazing. Anytime that Celie and Ricky join us, we go deeper and deeper and deeper. So if you missed out on that, you want to go back and watch that. So this week on Monday in 1984, America was basic tracking and overdubs. Then on that Thursday was the actual movie premiere and then the MTV party that we've been talking about. And on Friday was the theatrical release of the blockbuster masterpiece, in my personal opinion, Purple Rain. All right. So, but before we get started about all things Purple Rain, we are going to talk about a little ditty called America. And let's just think about this. Like, in real time, America was released on Around the World in a Day. That doesn't come out in 1985. And as a teen, I would have never thought that America was recorded like right around the Purple Rain, just like the height of Purple Rain. Prince is recorded America. That's crazy. So how do you guys feel about that? Knowing that Prince actually recorded this on July 1984, the week of the premiere, the week of the theatrical release, Prince working on America. What do you guys think about that?
I'm flabbergasted. I mean, I can't, if you had, I'm kind of like you. Like in my, even though I read that it was done around by this time, inside my mind, it's still a 1985 song. It's still a world premiere video. It's on MTV, fall '85. That's where my mind goes to it with it. But like when I think about it, I guess when you get really, when you think more into it, they say recorded their 21-minute version around about this time, so they were locked and loaded, band wise. You know what I'm saying, in the zone. So it kind of makes sense, but still, I just, when you think of all the other stuff going on, man, another artist I would have been focused on, hey, look, I got a movie coming out. I'm not recording no song now. I ain't doing that. He still was like, okay, gang, let's get it. Hey, tune up. Count it off, and I said, man, they still had press to do, and and all that type stuff. So just. Man, just goes to show just how focused the dude was. Like he was totally locked in.
Yeah, I really love this comment from Kim. Kim says he was just working like normal. So one of the things I remember reading about Jay Dilla is that he didn't go to any of the award ceremonies and things like that. Not because he didn't want to, but it was just because he was working. Like that's what he loved to do. He didn't have time for, all these other things. He just wanted to make music. So I'm sure Prince was very similar to that. And Cassandra is saying that their cardio song is America. And yes, Vanessa, the America extended version is a journey. Fan was on 100, if not 1,000 or 1,000,000. The 12-inch of America was everything to me because it was, like whatever, how long it is, like 22, 26 minutes. I can't remember exactly. We be cutting. And I love this comment also from Chris Bournet. I never knew America was recorded in '84. My mind goes boom. I mean, and it's just really, really crazy. And I love Mila's comment, on to the next. So already on to, and it's just crazy to really wrap your head around that. So
I wanted to add, I think it goes to show too that Prince and especially people in the camp really had no idea what Purple Rain was going to do. Like he had never had that in his career before, and I don't think they probably anticipated it would become a super hit. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you look at all the recording he was doing, it looked like somebody said he's just kind of doing what he would do anyway. Cool, okay, been on this project for a couple years, but I'm still like, yo, we cutting. Still, okay, we're on to
We couldn't.
Roadhouse Garden. I'm thinking of whatever is coming next. Like he's still. I mean, he's already his mind may be on the family and different things he's already working on. So probably are like, yeah, this is probably going to do what it does, but maybe it looks like they weren't thinking that this is going to stop the train and we will have to just focus on this. Like he's already plotting for the next thing. And like I said, I just think it goes to show they had no idea what this was about to turn into. And I think what we saw was, yo, you're supposed to stop everything else and just focus on this project now that you have the super hit. And I think we saw that Prince was like, nah, like, I don't want to just stop here and focus on this. I'm cool. We'll do this for a year or whatever. Then we got to go over here and pivot to do this. This is where I'm at. So when you look at it like that, it just goes to show like, yeah, he did what he always did. It didn't matter how it was going to be perceived. He had no idea. This was the first time he ever had a super smash hit. So
Yeah.
he was just doing him.
Yeah. We couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morris and them gone, no problem. Get ready for the next wave. We're getting ready for the next thing after this.
Yeah, I would say so there's a difference between somebody being your favorite artist and then being your model artist. And so Prince was already my favorite artist before Purple Rain. Around the World in a Day made Prince my model artist. And here's why. I think I learned about America and the songs for Around the World in a Day being finished early. I want to say Pierre Nilsson's The Vault was one of the first kind of research tunes. So for those of you who are new and young, and if you can, I know we all love Prince Vault, but so I think Prince Vault is the Bible. But before Prince Vault or probably right around a long time, I don't want to get my chronology messed up, but Prince Vault by Pierre Nilsson, and also I think he did Turn It Up. Did he do Turn It Up as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Turn It Up and Prince Vault by Pierre Nilsson. That's when I started realizing that okay, these songs were written really early, and that's when Prince became my model artist, because knowing when America was created made me realize that more than anything, Prince was on an artistic journey and he was not interested in creating or repeating himself just to make money. As he said in that famous Rolling Stone interview, he said, do you know how easy it would have been to take the solo from Let's Go Crazy, put it in a different key, and start a different song with that? And so knowing that he was basically complete, Around the World in a Day was finished midway through the Purple Rain tour. That's a model artist. That's an artist who's on a journey to be everything that he can be and to see what the possibility of music is. And that's the kind of artist that I wanted to model. And so getting this confirmation again, which a lot of us had, that America was already done, really speaks to his artistic, not just creativity, but integrity, right? He wasn't interested in milking something just because it was popular. And so I think that a lot of times we don't give Prince the credit for taking chances, and understanding that taking chances means that, everything is not going to be a hit. Everything is not going to be liked. But I think that this journey, I would say that no matter how frustrating the Prince journey has been for a lot of folk, I would say that it's been more adventurous and it's been more fulfilling, because we were always surprised. And who can say that their favorite artists continue to surprise them for 40-something years? I'll shut up.
Man, can you imagine if we would have had social media back then? Prince would have been releasing a song on a movie on, say, the day his movie premiered. Okay, would have been leaking tunes as he completed them. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I got a movie coming out, but check this new tune out. I mean, just the fact that they sat on that, like he sat on it, man, the Revolution, like everybody sat on it, knowing that they had these bangers just waiting to be released, but they had to, do the press or do the Purple Rain thing. They just kept quiet on it. That's amazing to me, because nobody leaked anything. Like no one, like I never remember seeing any quotes from anybody saying, "Hey, yeah, well, like you think that's dope? Check, wait till we put this out, or wait till this or that or whatever." It was just, we just didn't know, and they just sat on the stuff.
Yeah, and his whole career, he does that, right? Like, and even before then, he did that. We just didn't know about it. We didn't know about the Rebels album. We didn't know about this Jamie Starr album that they claim that they have now found or whatever. We didn't know about all that stuff back then. But obviously, he was always doing this. He always had a black album. He always had, an album ready to go. A Gold Experience or High album. That was his normal operating procedure for Prince. He was just always recording. I guess the challenge was, do you put out everything you do? Like, should you just hold off and let that collection of songs you just did for the last 3 months be sort of just used as that was the level up, and now your next thing is going to be even crazier, or do you put out every little piece along the journey so you can hear it, you can hear his music expand in real time, which we kind of did and we kind of didn't, which he pulled songs from years ago and updated them and put them on something new. Like we didn't know he was doing that, so it is fascinating though to look back at all of it, like, wow, he was just working the whole time, never stopped.
Yeah, just on the bass player tip, I gotta give shouts to Brown Mark for bringing the funk on that, because that bass line is whew.
Yeah,
greasy.
All right, so I'm going a little backwards, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read about America, and you will need to turn to page 365 in your books, if I got the page number right, for Monday, July 23rd, 1984. All right, is everybody there?
Yeah.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Yes, we're the revival. Okay. America, basic tracking and overdubs. Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse. Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse. Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse for America. That's what I'm talking about. Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Susan Rogers assumed. And I'm going to skip the quote just for time's sake. When Prince jammed with others, it often led to new musical discoveries, which helped feed the machine he'd created. While he wasn't always interested in relying on others in the studio, he was open to hearing where a communal jam would take a song. During sessions like these, Prince took advantage of the deep well of talent and the musicians who surrounded him to help expand the scope and range of his music. Brown Mark remembers that America was one of those songs we jammed on continuously. He basically dished out our parts. He kind of gave us an idea of what he needed it to sound like. It evolved, but I know that was a song that he himself came to us with that. He had written that one. The song had been introduced several days earlier during a rehearsal in which the entire Revolution locked in on a groove that they played for 5 hours. Prince fleshed it out and brought it back to the band on this date. The session began during a full band rehearsal that included work for the upcoming Purple Rain movie premiere party. The Revolution was jamming to Possessed, with Prince chanting the I'm Bad, Good God rap about St. Paul from the recently recorded Feline. The Lindrum groove continued, and Prince began shifting from Possessed to America using the same beat. Prince came in and did that America solo and started singing, and it turned into the song we know. We're called Wendy Melbourne. To this day, we can put that track on and feel that band's energy and feel what we were like at our best together. A effing freight train. Once Prince started adding the funky guitar over the groove, the vibe changed. When Prince started singing the chorus, he hadn't worked out the lyrics and sang them straight from America the Beautiful. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Eventually, the last two lines would be changed to America, America, keep the children free. No other lyrics were in place during the initial run through, although Prince tried out phrases like, why can't we get along, which didn't make it to the final version. Prince would refer to America as straightforwardly patriotic in an interview on MTV, and Susan Rogers agreed with his assessment about the song and about Prince. And I'm going to skip all of that and go to the actual recording of the song lasted for close to 22 minutes, but the freestyle groove continued much longer because of the great energy everyone was feeling. According to Rogers, the only reason why it wasn't longer was because the tape ran out. It's just one of those songs that was so good to play. It sounded great, the band rehearsed it, and we were ready to go. We put up tape and pressed record, they played it, he sang it, and they just kept playing it until the tape ran out. I think we were actually going to include the song of the tape running out, but we ended up not doing it. But he decided to just put on all 21 minutes of it because he thought if it feels this good to play, maybe it will feel just as good to listen to. And I would agree, it is like an amazing listening journey. So during the spoken part of the song, Prince said, "Teacher, why won't Jimmy pledge allegiance?" which was likely an allusion to the bird and the fact that Morris Day had left instead of signing on for the upcoming tour. Prince had been making references like this over the last few weeks in songs by the family, so it isn't far-fetched that Prince continued to poke at Day. During the mix, the intro of the song was made to sound like a turntable being slowed down, which was one of my favorite parts of that song. I wish I could do it with my mouth, which I can't, but you guys know what it sounds like. Yeah, thank you, Michael. Similar to the scratching sounds being used by artists like Grandmaster Flash and Malcolm McLaurin, Herbie Hancock had also demonstrated another variation of the sound at the 1984 Grammy Awards earlier in the year. On America, the effect was created when the tape was manually slowed down by hand as it passed over the tape heads, while another deck recorded the results. That is like it's very genius. Status: The Long Take of America, 21 minutes and 46 seconds, was released on the 12-inch. An edited version, 3 minutes and 42 seconds, was placed on Prince's Around the World in a Day album. It was the third in North America, and final single released from the album, and peaked at number 46 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and number 35 on the Billboard R&B chart. I don't understand those numbers. That's just me.
I would say my piece on this real quick. I feel like this song actually, listening to this, and the release of the full version, thinking about the video performance that was released of this, thinking about the red, black, and green flag that was in the back of the video, which is all very intentional, what the song is about. I almost feel like I wonder if listening to this song, I think about the song. Yes, this was on Around the World in a Day and all that, but it really reminds me of like controversy Prince in terms of what he's talking about, the stance he's taken. It's a political type of thing. It's almost kind of snarky satire-ishness of it, if it makes any sense. He's sort of asking the question. You don't know if he's praising America or condemning it to a degree, right? And I wonder if this song really sort of gets lost in the success of the Purple Rain movement and everything that's going on. And if it would have been a very bigger sort of, almost like this would have been like his Fight the Power or something like that, if that makes any sense. And in terms of just the way that song sat with the culture for a long time, and it was very important, I could see how this song would have spoken a lot of, I can see his intention was probably that it was just going to be a thing that we were supposed to stop and really pay attention to and be like, yo, this is a direction. Prince was a to me, that early Prince was the rebel leader of new movements. Like, okay, somebody said a protest song. That was Prince, like Controversy. A Dirty Mind Prince. We're not going to war. We're not fighting your war. That type of vibe. This song fits so much into that, and I wonder if it sort of got lost in like I said, the celebrity of that he became at that point. So the focus was more so on what's he doing next, or why does the music different from this, as opposed to, he's giving you the goddamn next move. Like, he's sort of even stopping what he's working on currently to show you like, yeah, I'm really focused on this. Like, this is the single, here's the video. But I think, again, the interview that happened at that time was the focus more so than this. But looking at it now, I can see how this probably was supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I agree 100%. And I think two things happen to keep that song from being recognized for what it is. Most people don't understand. Most people think that the word patriotic means that you don't critique your country. Right? I think what has happened over time is that when someone says, I'm a patriot, or this person is patriotic, it only means that I love my country. Well, the true thing about love is, if you love something, you want the best of it, so you're willing to critique it. America is critiquing America. And that's why, and again, we love first person. We want to hear, we love the first person people. But I think comments like that Susan Roger makes were made about this song glosses over the lyrics of the song. And I think that she, I'm not, she was there. So I'm not going to say she didn't understand the lyrics or didn't hear the lyrics. I think that sometimes people pull from songs the things that they want. Because if you look at what her comments are exactly the opposite of what the song is doing. Her comments are, but that's because most people didn't hear Free as a protest song. Most people don't know who the SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinated Committee singers are. So if you don't know who, like, Google the song, We Who Believe in Freedom Cannot Rest. That's what you guys should do. We Who Believe in Freedom Cannot Rest. And then listen to Prince's song Free in that context. Because Prince doesn't just say, be glad that you are free. At the end of that song, he said, but you have to continue to fight for freedom. And my problem is, how come people only hear the, I'm so glad as a black man I'm free part of that song, but they never hear him say, we're going to continue to fight for freedom, because soldiers are marching. They're continuing to march against us, and we have to continue to fight for freedom. America, as Brother D is saying, is in that same vein. But we don't hear it because you have certain people cherry picking to say, no, he's just talking about I'm happy because I'm a successful black man and America has allowed me to be successful. Show me that line in the song. Show me the line in the song where Prince says, I'm just happy as a black man and America allowed me to do these things. That's not in that song. So I'm with you, Brother Dean, that everything you said is what Prince was trying to say, but it got glossed over because, let's be frank, there were too many people making money off Prince for him to be a revolutionary. There were too many people making money off Prince for Prince to be seen as that defined, that political, and that black. And so even a lot of times when he was giving us those types of songs, they were not heard because they didn't want us to hear it. I'm going to shut up now because I do want to come back and say something about the extended mix. I want to give everybody, and then I want to come back, and then I'll say something about the extended version. So I'll shut up.
And just to throw in, what was the cover of that release? Right?
The black boy with the flag. The little black boy with the little naked black boy with the flag.
The naked black brother with the flag. The brother with the flag.
Prince was on some stuff. Yeah.
Now I will go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Celie, come on with the 12-inch. So I want to tell everybody a lesson. I had to learn a lesson, and I had to relearn this lesson years ago. Don't hate something because it's not what you want. I did not like the 12-inch initially because it wasn't what I wanted.
When I heard, because remember Prince was talking about the remix before it actually dropped. And if you remember the America video, he's handing out, remember he throws singles and 12-inch to the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So in my stupid mind, I admit stupid mind, I thought the 12-inch was going to be the live version. Not understanding, dumbass, the live version can't be on the album because he's already throwing that out, which means that's already recorded, dumbass. So I don't know how my dumb mind thought, oh, that's gonna be the 12-inch. No, fool, that's been recorded. So I get the 12-inch. I run out to the record store. I get it. I put it on. I drop the needle. What in the hell is this? You mean I ain't gonna get no love? Big old soul sister. Big old soul sister. Where's my big old soul sister at?
Yeah.
Where's my Vegas at the end? Where's my drum solo?
The drums, yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my Eddie M? Where's my Eddie M putting in his application that he should be in the band? Where is it?
Yeah. Where's my she wrecked the state?
There you go. I was so damn mad at that 12-inch. And I did not really come back to the 12-inch. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not come back to the 12-inch. It was something in Sign of the Times. So we talking about a couple of years later.
Wow.
That something in Sign of the Times made me go back to, and I was like, oh, this is hella funky. This is a groove. And so that's why I say to people, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, do I not like something because it's not well crafted? Or do I not like something because it wasn't what I wanted? And I'll say that the same thing, if you've ever seen the Miles Davis movie, with what's the great brother, great actor, I don't know why I always forget the brother's name. Don Cheadle. I didn't initially like that movie because I'd already read Miles' autobiography. So I thought the movie was going to be about Miles' autobiography. No, the movie's just about the 5 years that Miles doesn't make music. Mm-hmm. So when I first went, I was like, what is this crap? I had to go back and go like, oh, and you know what? They told us that they were making a movie just about that. So that's my America 12-inch story. And so to the kiddies in the group, don't dislike something just because it ain't what you want. But I still wish. And so to this day, I end on this. To this day, in my Around the World in a Day playlist, where America is on the album, because what I do is I play the album, and then after the album, I have all the 12-inch remixes and all that. So that's how I do all my album lists. America is one of the few songs that I have replaced, and in that part where America is on the album, I actually have the live version from the video, because that to me so I don't get the look at the beginning like y'all get, because I have to get that at the end when I had the 12-inch at the end. All right, I shut up.
It's so funny, C-Lee. I just thought you were just going to say, yeah, I replaced the America version with the 22-minute version, but like, no.
You went somewhere.
Yes.
I'm a big old sister. I got that habit.
I mean, it's incredible. It's like even like watching it today, because I looked at it today, it still brings chills. It still brings chill. And like, I'll keep saying this till the day I die. It's such an important video, America, the video, because I had never seen Prince perform on the drums live. Of course, I knew he could play. And obviously, you know, we had it, you know, in one of the Prince videos, you know, from the second album. But I've never saw him play it live. So it was a huge deal. I was like, yo, you know, like, this is amazing. So that video has a very special place in my heart. And also, like, you know, we had just, I don't know, it's just such an amazing video, because we really don't get a tour for Around the World in a Day, right? And so that was like the only live thing that we really had. So, yeah. All right. So did anybody else want to say anything about America before we move on to Thursday? And
just to reiterate, the video is important. Like you said, at the time we hadn't seen, the only thing we had seen of like that wasn't enough, but was the Purple Rain concert, like Syracuse. I believe at that point you could go into the store and buy that and watch that
Mhm.
home over and over again. And that was imprinted in my mind. That's what Prince looked like. That was the style. And this, and then we had Raspberry Beret, but it was just a video, and that was such a shocker look that I couldn't. My brain couldn't wrap around that. Like I liked the song, but I rejected the look of that. I just couldn't
Yeah.
understand where he was going with that. Whatever. But this was the first time I think where you saw, dare I say, a human person, Prince. Like he, the interview happened first, and we saw that. I was blown away. I was like, well, he speaks like, oh, okay, he's a person. Like that's a real guy. So when I saw the video for the first time, I was so blown away of his speaking voice and the mannerisms and everything he was doing. And then to show him like this, where it almost seemed like he was stripped down from everything I had seen before, and he visually looked so different. I don't know if it's lost now, but when he rips off the jacket during the performance, that was a big deal. It was just like, whoa, and he just like kind of frizzled his hair, and he didn't have the shirt on, and I was just like, yo, he's totally different. Like this is, and it was badass, and like he immenses to go into super badass Prince band leader. It was kind of like the thing you saw with Possessed a little bit, but taken to a whole, like that was the whole thing was like that, the stopping of the band, almost like he's like showing you like, yeah, it's that tight. Like I'm playing with him, and he's just having a good time. That was such a head buster to me, like just to see him in that. And he just was just like, and it ain't over. Like we're gonna keep jamming, like it's a groove, and I'm smiling. That was a big thing to me. Like he was just smiling and having. I was like, yo, this dude is actually a madman, like in a great way. Like it was something I'd never seen, like you said, with the drumming and everything. So that was a head buster performance at that time because it was the first time you got to see Prince like that, and I think that level of showmanship and the mastery of the stage started everything that we've seen coming to America stage and the musicology stage and all that kind of presence. That was the first time you really saw that confidence to me on that level where, yeah, I'm standing naked, I'm looking right at you, laughing and goofy, and it's banging, and I'm playing everything. And don't forget, I do all this. And don't forget the band is ridiculous. Wendy was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Eric, what I mean? So just all of that was the first time we saw that type of stuff. It was crazy. And the song, I never would have thought that song would be played that way, just from hearing it off of the record. Like I'm like, yo, this is that 25. I was like, So anyway, I just want to make sure that video is so important.
Yeah. A very monumental moment. But, because up until that time, we had just been flooded with Purple Rain, and we had never seen anything new. So like, to co-sign what you said, this was not only seeing him in that moment, but he was doing a song that many weren't familiar with, because we had seen the performances of Purple Rain, Baby I'm a Star, Take Me With You, Let's Go Crazy, all that. And we hadn't seen anything from, say, the new album other than the Raspberry Beret video, which was a performance video, and it fit the song, and it was cool, and it was it worked. But this was different.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming off the interview, because I just remember real time, that was a big deal. Like when they advertised that for that weekend, it was like Prince Talks, and they were like, MTV was definitely pushing it like every hour on the hour, like, yo, so you might want to tune in Saturday. He's doing an interview, and it's gonna be a new music video afterwards. And we didn't realize that the music video was gonna be, I know, what is it, like 17 minutes, 21 minutes, something like that. I know the video itself. I know we played the drums and everything. It's not your 3-minute video. It's almost like 20 minutes of doing that. And so, like, man, what you said, it was kind of like saying, those of us who saw the tour or like were kind of familiar with how he performed were like, okay, yeah, I know we kind of knew what to expect, but this was something different and new. And plus, it was a new song. And so that I think that was the biggest thing, was that it was a new song, and he was still, watch me work.
Yeah, and he flipped that song like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me go back and listen to this. This is boom.
Definitely. And it definitely, makes you, when you think about the song, if you say to someone, "Has you heard America?" It's like, yeah, but what follows is, but have you seen the video? Like that. I think that always followed that song. Say, have you seen the video? Because the drum, the drum playing part shocked everybody. It was just one of those things where like we weren't expecting that in the video. Yeah, the splits, the slides, the dancing, and the guitar solo, we were kind of expecting that. But the drum thing, yes, and we weren't expecting that. No,
I was gonna say one thing. Can somebody, and I'm not hating, but go back and watch this video. I almost wonder if Prince came back after the fact and tightened up the guitars, like the part where he's getting ready to, or the part when he's doing the drumming.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wonder, is that really Wendy playing like that, or is Prince overdubbing himself playing it? Because if you really listen to the style of the chicken scratching, what's going on, I ain't never really heard Wendy get down like that since then. I wouldn't be surprised if that was since. I don't know if Miko was up there at that time, was he?
Not at that. Well, he might have been, because the family had already done their one show.
Listen to the guitar and that I was like, I didn't know about it then, but looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, that's him playing that shit. He had to overdub that back in, because that shit was raw.
It could have been her, man. It could have been her.
It might be, but I ain't never heard it. That level, that's the only person I ever heard getting down like that was either Prince or Miko. But I ain't never heard them type of licks. But I could be wrong.
That's interesting. I have to pull that up and check that out.
Yeah, listen, go watch it. Because he was known to be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
His live stuff that was on TV, you could see he was going back in. Yeah, let me tighten it. Yeah, let me, okay.
I wouldn't doubt it, Michael, because he did it with the Purple Rain tracks, right?
Yes.
So and he did it with the Sign of Times tracks. So that I think that it was most definitely overdubbed. I really love this comment from KMS 1984 memory. Me and my dad watching the video. Prince takes his head off. My dad. What happened to his hair? Yeah. You knew things were going to be different from there. I love that. Yes, that's right. You knew
everybody will have short hair next time. Oh, little mama. All right, that's it.
Yes. All right. So I thought you said both. Is this true? Both versions of America were filmed plus. Oh, I read that wrong. Never mind. Okay, got it. Okay, I was about to.
Yeah, and that's a good point though, and we still have not seen that. If they want to put out something that would below our heads, they'll always put that up. Go dig that up.
Yep, definitely. All right. So before we move from America, I do want to show just the 12-inch cover. So for those of you who may not have seen the 12-inch cover, this is the 12-inch cover of America that we were talking about earlier. All right. So now,
can I say one thing?
Sure.
I'm glad you put it up there, because it just and all I've written about it just dawned on me looking at that image. Mm-hmm. If you go back and look at civil rights footage, particularly footage of Black protesters or people going into schools, there's always the moment when the white police officers would take those little handheld flags out of Black people's hands. And I've missed it. I've never written about it. And I just realized, I think that I've, for all these years, not connected that, because Black people who were marching and peacefully protesting were holding those flags and say, I'm an American. I'm an American son. I'm an American daughter. I should be treated equally. I'm not trying to tear down the country. Right? That's why they were holding those flags. And these white police officers were snatching the flags from their hands as to say, you're not an American. Were snatching the flags from their hands as to say, you don't have equal rights. And I'm just now, after all of my years of Prince scholarship, connecting that to that image of Prince having this Black baby, this Black child, holding his flag with a civil rights move, right? If we've listened to Sacrifice of Victor. So Prince was keenly aware about busing. Prince understood the things that happened in those rallies. And to see that baby now with that flag in his hand, I have no doubt that that flag is a reference to all of those marches, particularly in the 60s, when black people would be holding flags and white police officers would be snatching those flags from their hand. Once again, as Brother Dean said, what we've all said, Prince was always on top of it, waiting on us to catch up. And his frustration a lot of times was that we never caught up. I'll shut up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Kim has given us our time check, and but I think it's really important to talk about America. It's such, one, amazing song, but two, there's the video is amazing, the lyrical content is important. It's a song that deserves to be talked about. So we have given it, hopefully, a little bit of its just due, even though it obviously needs more. So we're gonna move on to the Purple Rain movie premiere and party, which is page 368, if I wrote this down. So who wants to read about the Purple Rain movie premiere and party? And whoever does, skip the quote from Peggy McCreary, only because of time. So for those of you who are keeping up with the reading, there's a huge quote from Peggy McCreary that you can also read. So who's gonna do the reading this time around?
I'll do it.
I see you modding there. I see. We're gonna let you live right now.
Oh, wait a minute. Brother Tudahl, thank you, brother. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. All right, so begin with, with the release of Purple Rain, Prince had hit the cultural sweet spot. As MTV was gaining in popularity and influence, Prince supplied a movie that in many ways was a series of music videos held together by a compelling story. Almost every song released by Prince at the time, the album 6 from this project, had a music video ready for air. MTV was hungry for content, so the singles fed the network's appetite, which promoted the movie, which promoted the album, which promoted the upcoming tour, which ultimately promoted the network. This sort of movie soundtrack tour synergy was rare, and it would be used as the blueprint for almost every rock and roll movie release for years to follow. Most of them would fail, but almost all of them would be compared to Purple Rain, in the same way that Purple Rain was compared to the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. The crowd was filled with celebrities, including Christopher Reeve, that's Superman for y'all who don't know, Eddie Murphy, Little Richard. Prince is me, child. That's all. Prince is me. I can't wait till we come back to that. Lionel Richie, all night long. Outrageous. I still hear that in my sleep. Outrageous. Okay. Members of Devo, Let It Whip. Talking Heads. Check out that Talking Heads concert footage. Pee Wee Herman, we're gonna move right along, and Steven Spielberg. To most people, Prince looked like he was in control, and in most cases he was. But on the drive to the premiere, as he sat quietly in his limo, clutching a single flower, he wasn't sure what to expect. Alan Leeds, who sat next to him, remembered the move. Want me to read the whole Alan Leeds quote? Okay, I'll just say that Alan Leeds said that there was the one time when he saw Prince's facade and that he was a little nervous about what was going on. So that's really what Alan said. All right, let's go down. Jonathan Tackett of the Philadelphia Daily News called Prince the, quote, best thing going in pop today, end quote, and a, quote, master of multi-format mulatto music that's artistically satisfying, sexually stimulating, and culturally savvy, end quote. I'm coming back to that mulatto music. I'm coming back to that when we talk. All right. The New Yorkers, Pauline Kael, compared Prince to James Dean, while Roger Ebert called Apollonia electrifying and said the movie was, quote, one of the best combinations I've seen of music and drama, end quote, and that it was, quote, the best rock film since Pink Floyd's The Wall, end quote. Although there were some reviewers, such as the New York Times and Leonard Maltin, who didn't enjoy it as much, most reviews were fairly positive. Despite the celebration, Prince was still battling Morris Day, as their mutual friend Pepper Willie remembered.
Skip it.
Okay. With Morris Day at the time no longer a viable product, Prince decided that Sheila E. should perform at the premiere party. Her band played Shortberry Starcake, The Belle of St. Mark, Next time, wipe the lipstick off your collar and the glamour fly. Prince and the Revolution took the stage to play 17 Days, Is to a Bitch, and Windows Cry. There we go.
All right. So before we get into the conversation, let me go ahead and just share some of the photos that I pulled together. So obviously the premiere was at it's now called the Man's Chinese Theater or Man's Theater. And this is the infamous, walking of Prince. He looked very, based on what I read about what Alan Leeds had to say, I think Prince was scared is the wrong word, but I guess maybe a little uncomfortable. But I'd like to talk to you guys about how you feel about that. And then I thought Apollonia looked amazing, and Morris always looks amazing. And this is Morris at the MTV Purple Rain premiere party. And obviously we had Wendy and Lisa, and I loved what Lisa had on. It was so beautiful. And then obviously we had Sheila E. And Sheila was my favorite person at the MTV premiere party because all of her responses to the questions was Prince. She just kept saying Prince and Prince and Prince over again. So I really love the MTV party. And then these are some slides from the Erotic City 40 Symposium where
Mickey Free.
Yes, and Mickey Free. I love this photo. It's one of my favorite photos.
Who that new girl in
Yes.
Shalimar?
Yes. And then we have Louis and Vaughn, the amazing photo with the lights and all of that. And then we have Big Chick. And what's really crazy about this is I didn't really realize that Louis and Vaughn, they actually designed that for Big Chick for the premiere, like the leopardy thing. So that was like very, very, very cool. And then this is the Purple Rain movie premiere program, which was sold at some auction. And so you can see the cast of characters and the music credits and all the credits. And then on the back, all of the credits and May You Live to See the Dawn and all of that. So again, this is, on the website. If you go all the way, our book club website, let me pull up the banner. If you want to look at these in more detail, because I'm going super fast because the time is flying by. But I just wanted to give us some visuals for context. All right, so take it away.
I start by saying I'm glad Blade Brown got the Eddie Murphy quote in there, because that Eddie Murphy quote was Eddie Murphy making fun of Little Richard. But I want to be clear, Little Richard was not joking. All right? If you've ever seen that premiere party, Little Richard was not joking. They said, Little Richard, what do you think? This is me, honey. They all me, right? That's just me. It's just me. It's just me in this time. And feel about how Little Richard, how you want to feel about it. I would say to the point about, and I think it's what we've all been saying. We can all have something that we want very badly. We can all, that thing for which we've been working. But the moment it gets ready to come to fruition, you don't know what it's going to be. And so, Prince had been working for this movie. Think about it. He had to fight to get them to make this movie. He had to put up some of his own money. He had to threaten not to sign with his managers if they didn't get him a movie deal. He had to fight with Warner Brothers to keep damn John Travolta out the movie. He had to do all these things, right? And so now you fought and you fought and you fought, and that day is finally here. You've been working on that thing, and it's finally here. Now there's always this notion of, I hope this is work, because I've been really fighting for it. It's that. I think that's just a natural, and I think it shows you, the brother was human, which makes us, I think, love him and appreciate him even more. And I did. That's really, my point of view. I just think that sitting in that limo, like all of us who had whatever we see as our big break or our big moment, you getting that job you wanted. I remember when I published my first book, right? You got books in boxes, and them books in boxes are getting ready to be mailed out. I mean, it's one thing to say, we're going to write this book. It's another thing to know that, in a day or so, people going to be able to comment on your book. In a day or so, people going to be, it's you want people to like it, right? You may not be saying, hey, I'm a little down if they don't like it, but there's always this moment of just never knowing what was going to happen. And in having that, I appreciate getting that window into that. So I'll shut up because I do want to come back to that mulatto music comment. So I'm gonna shut up and let you guys go, and then we'll come back to the mulatto because I do have something to say about that mulatto music comment.
Yeah, I would add, I think it's in Pepe Willie's book, where he sort of gives the perspective of Morris Day pulling up to that premiere. And Morris, I don't know if he was not invited or he didn't have, he's there on his own type of thing. And then so when you see him get out the car and he's talking to, is it Mark Goodman?
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know at the time, but knowing now, I'm like, okay, he's the co-star of the movie, and he's sort of, he ain't a part of the promo run, right? He's coming literally like, yo, I'm about to go get mine. They're not gonna leave me out of this situation. So I think that's super interesting. That this is the big moment that whole camp is about to blow. That you can see there was still the stuff that's in the movie damn near is playing out in real life, but we didn't see it. So when I think of something like that, and when I think of Prince, the story that Alan says, and they come up, he's kind of like, whoa, all of that's out there for me. It just goes into me that I don't think they knew, they had no inkling what the perception of this was going to be like what it was going to become. And I just think, this is just my thoughts. I don't know what Prince was thinking, but it seemed like he's coming out and like, probably just like, wow, had no idea. And, not necessarily trained to be the super, like everything he did was to sort of almost be the outsider. Like, I'm doing my own thing, but here he's being sort of like, no, you are the movie star. This is all for you, and so he's just walking up. And to me, I always just interesting the way he just seems to like, he's just so stoic. And for a long time, that was the vision he had of Prince. It's like he would just always be like, he didn't have any sort of emotions. So that's why it would blow my mind later when we saw him sort of really acting, or you see him in concert, because I'm like, man, that's an interesting way to present yourself, because the music doesn't come across that way. Like his persona at that point, the music doesn't come across like that. So it's just very interesting. Like, yo, he has a very like, he's like super unbothered, as if we weren't even there. He just walking. So it's just an interesting, to me, the way he carried himself through that, which I wonder, which is, and I'm going to stop. The next time he's in that situation, he is an entirely different person, right? Sheridan, Wyoming is an entirely different person than this. And I obviously is by design for whatever reasons, and I can speculate, but it's just very interesting to see, like when he first ascends into that, he's very stoic. And we walk in here and sit down or whatever he does. So that's all I want to say. But then, and last thing, the Little Richard part, I will admit, I was annoyed by that at the time, in real time. And the reason why, I didn't have proper context of who he was back in 1983. I just thought he was some old dude tripping. Like, why he ain't no man. Now, knowing everything I know, he's exactly right. And I can imagine how he must have looked to him like, ain't this about a bitch? I done laid the foundation for this ish. And this man come in here with white folk money, and they're going to make him be what I was doing. So I can understand why he was probably like, wow. Yeah. And then he's a different person where he's like, I know the game. Hear a Bible, brother. You don't need this. Because they got something for your ass. You think you? So I love what Little Richard was doing. He was, to me, like, he was the Yoda character, kind of like forewarning, like, yo, you're about to do it. Listen, they done ran me through the brother. Get ready. And so it may come off as like, hey, he ain't did it. But what he was really doing to me was trying to letting dude know, like, yo, they're about to make you and Michael the thing, but I don't went through that. I could show you what you're about to get yourself into. And then as a reminder to the people, like, see, they didn't want to give brothers like me the credit but now they'll prop up somebody else that they own, and they got to make him everything. So that's all I'm gonna say. But shout out to Little Richard, man. He was right. He was right.
There's so many great comments in the chat. I love this one from Just Rules saying, shielding one's own spirit and unique person is a gift. Prince mastered the gift of self-preservation. Be more than influence instead of always being influenced, creators. And also, I loved, Andre said, great point, Michael, at the time, maybe he felt the whole Hollywood scene wasn't his element, even though he wanted the film to be a success. So maybe he was putting up, like a wall, so to speak. Then I like Karan as well, saying, I think Prince was very nervous that night and a little overwhelmed. It was a huge moment for him. His career was about to explode to a whole other level. Because like you said, Michael, he was human, right? Prince was a human being. So I'm sure he was probably experiencing a lot of different emotions that night. And Chris Bournet is saying, I definitely see the Little Richard influence in Prince, but Little Richard couldn't make up his mind if he wanted to be in the church or the world, whereas Prince embraced both.
Can I address that?
Sure.
I think, and Brother Bournet, I understand your point. I think what you are missing on that is the importance of the church in Black life. If you have to understand that wasn't just a Little Richard thing, right? Sam Cooke, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, Little Richard, Aretha Franklin,
Ray Charles,
thank you. All had public battles with the church. When I say public, I mean this was well known, this was in the press, this is what Black people knew. So it wasn't just Little Richard. Al Green quit the business. I'm privy enough. I got to see secular Al Green. I got to see church Al Green. Couldn't tell the difference, by the way. But anyway, I was raised in a world, Brother Bournet. Show you just how strong it was. And this is true. Grown people actually said to me, Brother Wyatt and Brother D, as a child, that God killed Sam Cooke because he left the church.
Mm-hmm.
That's what grown people actually said to me. And it wasn't until my father, I told that to my father said, and I'm going to clean it up. He said, boy, Sam died because he was messing with that crazy lady in the hotel. God had nothing to do with that. But, so when you understand, it wasn't just a Little Richard thing. I think where you give Prince credit is the same way you have to also give Aretha Franklin credit. Because I would say Aretha Franklin, and I would say others, I would never say Aretha Franklin did it first, was that rather than saying, I'm going to choose my secular over my spiritual, I'm going to embody these in the way Ray Charles did. Right? Ray Charles has the famous quote that I love where Ray Charles said, the only difference between R&B and gospel is that they say Lord, Lord, and we say baby, baby. Other than that, right? So I just wanted to put some context that when you're making a statement about Little Richard, what you're really making a statement about, you have to understand there is no civil rights movement without the Black church. So when you wonder why does the Black church have that, then okay. So I didn't know whether or not you knew that much about Brother Bournet. So I just wanted, And so that would be no civil rights movement without the Black church. So it wasn't just spiritual reasons that you didn't want to go against the Black church. It was cultural reasons and social reasons. You have to understand, well, and not Brother Bournet, but I think people have to understand that there was a point where every major Black artist came from the Black church. Now we are used to Black artists that are not connected to the Black church. But I would say only after the 1990s, that you would be hard pressed to find major Black musical artists before the 1990s that were not connected to the Black church, and therefore you were always gonna have that. And in fact, Prince embraces it, but he also embraces the struggle at his biggest height in Purple Rain. Remember, in the Purple Rain tour, God scolds Prince. Right. One of my favorite and funniest moments, by the way. What's happening, brother? And then what does he say? He says, I know I promised to be good, but they dig it when I'm bad. As a 14, 15-year-old watching that video, that spoke to me as a black child in the church. I remember black preachers preaching from the pulpit, Prince gonna send your children to hell. Matter of fact, and I end on this, I told this story to a few people. The 18 months that I was working with Prince, my mama used to call and leave a message on the answer machine, Brother White and Brother D. But this is the answer. Every Sunday, my mama would leave this voice on the answer machine. She would say, Mama love you. Call Mama back. Just know, Prince and everybody listening to this music going to hell. Mama love you. Call me back. Mama thought that was her family. This was a real answer machine with the tape. And my wife Monica would rewind that tape and play it every Sunday 5-6 times. Mama love you, but Prince and everybody like his music, going to hell. Mama love you back, and would hang up. And to this day, that's one of the funny things. So I just wanted to put that in social context, how important the black church was, and why I didn't want to just put Little Richard out there like that was just him. Marvin Gaye, Al Green, all of these people, and Prince again put it right up and forth and say, look, I have these things. I wrestle with these things. There are things that I want to do. And I'm glad Brother Brunday actually brought that up because that's an important point that we need to discuss. So thank you for bringing that up, brother. I'll shut up.
One last, just throw it, we're not going to discuss it, but just everything you just said, is that what's missing from R&B today?
Yes.
The connection.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of these people that are artists now probably couldn't get a solo like in a church choir.
Right.
Or you could probably go to a church and say, I know somebody that can sing better than them, and then they're singing inside the church choir. Fred Hammond did an interview recently, a while back, and he was saying that, like gospel music has fallen off because they borrowed so much from R&B. And he gave a list of commission songs that were influenced by R&B music, and both influenced the other. And so like to answer your question, that's what's missing. Say a lot of times, man, today, because a lot of people, like I said, it's people in church choirs around the street that could sing rings around some of these folks. You know what I'm saying? But but the industry being industry, they want image, marketing, all that type of thing. Same thing with the musician piece. You know what I'm saying? Same thing.
It's
like the same thing. You don't have. I think Andre Simone just did an interview recently with Jim Kelly. I think that's the guy's name that came out a couple of days ago, and he was talking about bringing the funk back. And he was just saying how funk and music is not a thing anymore. Like you don't, like there was a time when you knew certain drummers and keyboard players and bass players and guitar players of certain people, and people bought records off of, I know this bass player's on there, so like this person is this, or like this keyboard player, or like this drummer, and you don't have that anymore. Like you can't, and so a lot of those guys are just hired hands, or say they're playing gospel music. Same thing, like they're missing because of that other element not being there. So yeah, it's one influences the other, and both are hurting. Yeah.
So, real quick, Celie, I love this question for you from Barbara Y. Did Prince ever hear that voice message from your mother? Did you actually record it? I wonder how Prince would have responded. He probably would have laughed his butt off.
I will only tell you, and I'm not going to get into the story. Pop Duff has had it. I've told the story about Prince would call a house, and if my wife would answer, he wouldn't say anything and just hang up. And this is when you had the little voicemail. So you had Chanhassen, Minnesota on that little box. And I don't know nobody else in Chanhassen. Like, I don't know who the hell else he thought that could be. So when my wife would answer the phone, he wouldn't say anything. Hang up, and literally that's in 30 seconds, call right back. I would pick up the phone, and he would start talking like that last phone call didn't ever happen. And so my wife, being my wife, finally she would just pick up the phone and she would go, hello, 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 hello. Chris would hang up, phone would ring 30 minutes later, and he would go, your wife is funny. And they go right into whatever he was doing. So so he never heard the voicemail from my mother. We talked about it, and he just kind of gave me ha-ha, right? Like one of those kind of things. I also want to add something that I'm glad that Brother Andre talked about. Prince also does it in Temptation, right? That's what the whole song Temptation is about. And to tie it and end it with Brother Wyatt's point, I'm going to put this question to the musicians. What caused him to invent slap playing? What caused Larry Graham to invent that? Anybody remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because they were playing and the organ went out.
Well, not just the organ, but remember, they didn't have a drummer. His mama's band didn't have a drummer.
Yeah.
So slap bass was invented in church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just that they didn't have a drummer. So again, all to Brother Dean's question, yeah, I think that R&B isn't as powerful because it has lost the vibrato that is housing the spiritual edge. And so I think that the reason you don't get much vibrato, and also part of that, is also because hip hop created a masculine persona where vibrato is seen more feminine and not masculine. So you don't have the vibrato in a lot of black male singers anymore because vibrato is now mostly connected to women singers. And I'll tell you where it started. The guy, what's his name? Jaheim? Remember the singer Jaheim?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jaheim, that dude still owe me $20 damn. And I've only said this about one person. Jaheim is the only performer ever who owed me $20 because I went to see his ass live. He owed me $20 damn. I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah. Jaheim was the next Teddy Pendergrass. So I ain't gonna knock the brother. He was the next. Go listen to Jaheim. I don't want to see the next Teddy Pendergrass take the stage like he a rapper. All that dude did was held his crotch and tried to sing. That was when the moment I saw that hip hop influence was causing brothers that they thought that singing with vibrato and singing was being too soft and too weak. And Jaheim, who was probably one of the last great R&B male vocalists, destroyed his career because he was trying to act like a rapper rather than being a singer. I'll shut up.
So a lot we could go into.
Yeah, and we're running out of time because I really do want to end on time at 2:00, and our timekeeper has been giving us like the minutes. So we're gonna move on to the Purple Rain theatrical release. And that was Friday, July 27th. So today is July 27th. So in 1984, it was Friday, but today is Saturday. Yes. So this is an important date. Purple Rain theatrical release. We're going to get our reading on.
This is a business.
Yes.
Yes. So Michael or Ricky, do you have time to read, or do you need to know?
Yeah, I need to dip.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
All right, Rick, man. Have a good one.
All right. Bye. All right, Michael, it's you.
Where are we at?
We're at page 370. Friday.
I'm not going. I'm just having my camera for a minute.
Okay, no problem. Friday, July 27, 1984, page 370.
All right. With the quote from Vanity, Janice Matthews. Yeah. There's a big part of me that doesn't want to see it. Prince and I were so close. I know the effect he still has on me. It hurts. What relationship have you ever been in that didn't hurt? There's a lot of us in that movie. Purple Rain is released to theaters. Because of the positive word of mouth and previews, the movie opened in 917 theaters on its first weekend. The film was so successful that an additional 105 theaters were added the following weekend. It would eventually become the 11th highest grossing movie of the year, earning more than $68 million and ending up on multiple best of movie lists for 1984. Prince had the #1 movie, the #1 single, and the #1 album, placing him in the category of rock royalty. or as I would say, funk royalty. Susan Rogers summed up Prince's achievement best. Very rarely has an artist worn the triple crown where they have been in a hit in all three spheres, where the public loves them, where the critics praise them, and where other musicians admire the hell out of them. Prince, who's gone on record about feeling rejected by those closest to him when he was young, was finally getting unconditional affection and acceptance as an artist, both of which could derail his creative edge if he got complacent. Los Angeles was hosting the 1984 Summer Olympics, which would begin the following day and last until mid August. So many people were trying to stay out of the area. Because Prince didn't attend any sessions at Sunset Sound until August 22nd, it is likely that he traveled to Minneapolis to avoid the predicted traffic. Lastly,
let's stop
that?
there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Michael. All right. So before we get into our conversation, let me share some of the images that I have. One is this Billboard magazine ad, which I absolutely love. And at the bottom, it says, "The rain has just begun," which I thought was really great. And it's basically congratulating Prince and the Revolution for not only the singles and the album, but also the upcoming film. So this was released before Purple Rain was released. I really love it. This is a billboard. If someone knows where this billboard is, please let us know. It's an image that's floating on the internet. And this was a Japanese Purple Rain poster that I found that I really, really love, just the colors and also the typography of Purple Rain. And this Japanese lettering is amazing. And then I also love this Mexican Purple Rain poster because it has Prince and Apollonia Cotero as like the headliners, because, you know, we all know that Apollonia is Mexican. And then I really love this French promotional poster just because you get more of the smoke trails and all that jazz. So I really love this one. And I wanted to show this one to you, Michael. This was a marquee of Purple Rain from Seattle.
Where that's at.
Yeah, I was wondering if you knew, but if somebody knows, let us know about this particular marquee. Then this is one of my favorite marquees because it's at the Fox in Atlanta. As we all know, that's the last place that Prince performed. But this was during the theatrical release in 1984. So, and we got a lot of Atlanta peeps, a lot of ATLians in the chat. So I love this marquee. And then there's a marquee for all the New York folks. Actually in Times Square, where it was actually shown at the Criterion Center. And then this is another marquee, and I don't know what city this is. So if somebody knows about this, please let me know. So I'm assuming it could be New York, but it could be Chicago. I don't know. So if anyone has any notes on that, let me know. And I do want to read a little bit of this Star Tribune article by John Bream that was released on the same day. And so let me just read it really quickly. I won't read the whole thing because it's very, very long. But the title is City to a Star Purple Rain. So Prince's Purple Rain can be seen as a cinematic Valentine to Minneapolis, which I agree, from our most prominent rock music figure, or as a contemporary backstage musical. Either way, it succeeds nicely on its own terms. Purple Rain was filmed last November and December in 32 locations in and around Minneapolis. Just like when we watched the Made in Minneapolis personals a couple of years ago, we might find ourselves trying to pinpoint where a particular scene of this film was shot or trying to pick out a familiar face in a crowd. You can't miss First Avenue, the downtown club where most of the concert scenes took place. Just about every time the action shifts to the club, the camera shows the front door and marquee. The club is so prominent that it is undoubtedly will end up on the itinerary of every Prince fanatic in much the same way that Beatles fans flocked to Liverpool's Cavern Club where the Fab Four cut their teeth. And this is prophetic, and we're still doing it to this day. The odd thing, though, is that this film never mentions Minneapolis, not once. It's not in the dialogue, on any road signs, or even in some offhanded remark or inconsequential backdrop. The only giveaway that the film takes place here is a reference to Lake Minnetonka, glimpses of Land of 10,000 Lakes, license plates, and the closing credits, which thank the mayor, police, and people of the city. Yet Minneapolis is so much part of this movie. The attitudes and tenor of the local music scene have shaped the look and essence of this picture. It's not that Purple Rain is so much a story of Prince and his royal court of musical funketeers, because it's not, but it focuses on a healthy, competitive music scene and the relationships among the bands, club owners, and the individuals within a band. That's why, in essence, Purple Rain is a contemporary entry in the backstage musical genre. It is not, however, the greatest rock film ever, as one critic has contended. In many ways, Purple Rain exudes the classic qualities of the best rock and roll music: aggressiveness, irreverence, and sexiness. It could have been a great movie. The story is strong and credible. The music sequences are magnificent and joltingly powerful, and the cinematography is appropriately moody and generally first-rate. However, the acting is erratic, the violence and sexism are excessive, tasteless, and gratuitous, and it takes too long for the viewers to become emotionally involved with the many players and plots in this 104-minute drama. In some respects, Ricky, director Al Magnoli, he also co-wrote the screenplay and edited the film, has adopted a style not unlike Flashdance and Footloose, two recent music-oriented flicks that were big winners with teens and young adults. Like a rock video, this movie cuts quickly from scene to scene, with the camera never staying anywhere too long except on the concert. And I think this is really important to understand that in our day and age, like, we're used to all this quick cutting, but back then that was not the norm at all. And I'll read a little bit and then I'll stop. Magnoli's style gives the film an intoxicating yet discomforting edge, much like Prince's music of the early 80s. And even though the music performances may be the most memorable scenes in the film, Magnoli skillfully weaves them into the flow of the story and does not allow them to dominate or distract. The songs, most of which Prince wrote before he saw Magnoli's script, smartly complement the storyline from the perspective of his character, the kid. And I could go on and on and on. I think this is a very fair review from John Bream of, again, this was 1984. Like, this was literally the review from 1984. So I highly recommend that you take time to actually read the entire thing at one point. And this is a little bit of the part that I was reading. And then this is just the ad that was actually in the same Star Tribune for Purple Rain. And you can see at the bottom, it starts today. And it lists like all of the Minneapolis theaters that it was going to be shown in. And I'm just going to go through the slides and then we'll talk about everything. I'm going really fast because just at the time, I just want to make sure. I just want to say that I don't think we need to forget about the phenomenal Clubhouse Housequake audio drama of Purple Rain that you actually can still listen to on Clubhouse. So if you, again, go to the website and go to the bottom and click on the slideshow at the bottom, you could go directly to that Clubhouse. It would be a great way to spend your time if you haven't heard it. They did a phenomenal job. And I love that Michael Dean actually did an amazing interview with all of the creators, including David Belgrave and was Addie, I can't remember her last name, and another gentleman that you interviewed. But this is like, I'm so happy, Michael, that you actually sat down and captured this moment in time and talked to them about how they did it, because they did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was really incredible. So this interview is in the company playlist if you want to listen to it, if you haven't. But you should definitely listen to the Clubhouse first before you listen to Michael Dean's podcast on it. And then just really quickly, I sent out a message. If you went to the Erotic City Symposium and subscribed to the Substack newsletter, I just sent one out maybe an hour and a half ago. recapping everything that we covered because I hadn't sent that out because today is the day to do it because we are celebrating 40 years of Purple Rain. And at the Erotic City 40 Symposium, we not only talked about the album, but we also talked about the movie. So if you haven't had a chance to actually look at those videos, which I'll add to the playlist, didn't have an opportunity to do so. And I'll also add the Andre interview. I forgot to do that to the accompanying playlist. If you go to day 2, that's where basically all the movie stuff is. All right. So let's talk about the theatrical release of Purple Rain. What you guys got to say?
So, a couple of things. Can you do me a favor? Can you go back, because I want to end on, can you go back to the second picture you had for the clubhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, no. All right. So I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. So a couple of things. First of all, I want to say, because he doesn't get a lot of props, and I think probably because him and Prince had a little falling out toward the end. But I don't think that John Breen gets enough props for documenting the early career of Prince. I think somewhere between 84 and 86, he actually had a book that was out, which was really just a lot of his clippings. I just remember being a young, teenager getting that. That was like a big window. So if you can find that John Breen book, and it's funny because I think it had like the controversy cover or something like that. And I just remember, again, people forget that's who Prince was before Purple Rain. Is that the one? Is that the John Breen? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the John Breen book.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that one, but that was one that came out. Is that the one? That's the one that came out in the 80s, right?
Yeah, that's the one that came out in the 80s. That's because I bought it. That's the cover. Okay, cool. I bought it in real time. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I guess I got my covers mixed up then. Yeah, so
I think there's a different cover, but that's the cover that was released in 84 because whenever that book was released, I think it was 84. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But whenever it was released, that's the cover.
You're right.
Was that the first Prince book to come out?
When did the Stephen Ivory Prince book come out?
All right.
That's a good question. It's either going to be that one or the Stephen Ivory book. So somebody have to do our Googles to see what year the Stephen Ivory book came out. And that's another problem. I'm glad you mentioned that. Stephen Ivory is another person who doesn't get enough credit for the early documenting of Prince's work. So yes, I just wanted to throw that out there. So yeah, thank you for raising that question. So the Stephen Ivory. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The reason this picture, it took me completely elsewhere where I wanted to go, but this picture has always captured for me one of the things that the movie is about, which is this solemn, negative feeling guy being saved by the beauty of womanhood. And I think that people who say that the male toxicity, the sexism is over the top, I think you only say that if you don't understand that this movie is about changing that. And the changing it is not important, or it doesn't hit right if the toxicity isn't played properly. And so what I would say to people is, and of course I'm taking a dig at this play. I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm taking a dig at the play that's coming out. If you want to remove certain elements from this film or not want to deal with certain elements of this film, what you're really saying then is that human beings are not capable of changing. Because Purple Rain at its core is about changing. It's about becoming a better human being. The kid becomes a better human being. How does the kid become a better human being? Because he learns how to love. And for whatever reason, I don't understand why so many people miss that. Why is it so difficult to miss that? Purple Rain is saying all this stuff that these dudes are doing, that's bad. And we want them to change, and the kid changes. And Morris changes. And so I think that this picture is really symbolic of what Prince was saying about womanhood in this movie, the ability of men to be saved from their own sexism by women, the ability to embrace love over the physical. I think all of that is being articulated by that picture, and I just think that people miss that, and I don't know why they miss it. Other than you want to cancel somebody, you want to say you're bad, you can't change. Well, I'm sorry, folks, that's not what Purple Rain is about. Purple Rain is about you can change. You can become a better human being. You can become a better band member. You can become a better band leader. You can become a better husband. You can become a better boyfriend. You can change. And unless you just want to cancel people, we have to get out of this notion that if you are bad, you're bad forever, because Purple Rain doesn't say it. And that's going to be one of the endearing qualities of the film for me, is that just because you start in mess doesn't mean you don't have to end in mess. And I think it gives a message for that. And it does it in an artistic way that it doesn't flinch from the negativity. Because if you don't show the fullness of the mess, right, your testimony is because you came through mess. And there are people that's in that same mess. And if you don't give your testimony about your mess, you're not going to help somebody else with theirs. And so Purple Rain gives a testimony that if you're in this mess, if you are a man that's in this mess, you can come out of this mess, or you can end up dead, which is the vision that the kid got, which is what helped him spur himself to making a change. I'll shut up.
I like that. I like that. You know, I agree with everything you said. I just feel like the conversation about Purple Rain and, you know, using the word toxic and these types of things, to me, I can understand that, but I put this film in the same boat as I would put Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, The Godfather, Casino. What's the other one with Joe Pesci and there's one that I'm missing.
Is it Goodfellas? Goodfellas.
If those movies ain't toxic and getting, you know, you can't watch them without look at all the killings. This movie is telling a story, you know, and it's telling a story of what those characters are doing at that time. Would I have done some of those things? Would you have done? Maybe not, but I don't live their life. You know, I don't expect to put my values and principles on what these fictional characters would do. They're telling a story. Like you said, you're saying this is about a redemption thing. So to me, it is a story about these people trying to survive in the situations that they're in with the knowledge that those characters have. And they're very flawed characters. You know, not Prince, I should stop saying it. The kid is a very disturbed individual. Super talented. Yep. But he's disturbed. He's going through a lot of trauma. He's acting out the trauma, and he's kind of an outsider, and he's dealing with all this other stuff with the people around him, and they're going through, you know, looking at Morris's character, you can understand that he's fronting, you know, he's pretending that he's balling and he wants to be all these great things, but they show you at the beginning of the movie, this dude is damn near broke, you know, living, you know, he's vacuuming up. You know, he not balling. You know, he's just trying to pretend to be the man, which I can relate to. A lot of I'm faking it till I make it. Billy, you know, the movie presents us that this is a black club doing it big. Brothers is performing and stuff, and this is in the 80s. That I don't know if that was seen as a fantasy at that time, or it was seen like, yo, that can viably happen, or maybe it's be seen like this is what it could be like if we had our own thing popping and we was performing and people love what we were doing. Plus we're going through normal hood shit that we go. My mom and them's tripping. My dad, when you really look at the movie, I really question like, well, what was Francis Ailes' background? Because he's going through some ish. I understand what they sort of throwing. They're just not talking about it. Well, he's married to a white woman and he beating the shit out. Like, what's going on with that? Like, why is he like that? And they seem to know that he's been on some bullshit, yeah, just like his pops too. Like, they already know he come from some bullshit. You know, the kid come from some bullshit. So it's an interesting. So to me, looking at the movie now, and the more I really start paying attention to watching it, it's a fascinating movie because I wonder what's going on with these characters. Like, what is making them be the way they are? Why is Apollonia? Why did she come there? Like, was the spot that was popping, and she just went to this area, and I'm gonna make it. You know, I'm very curious to why that, and I can understand Prince seeing, or the kids seeing, it was beautiful. You know, watching it in 4K, I really remember just how beautiful seeing Apollonia's face come on the screen and not really seeing that imagery that big like that before. I was just taken aback by her beauty, and I can see why the kid and Morris is taken aback, like, whoa, this is what dudes do when they see somebody that is fantabulously beautiful, and they're just like, I got something for that. Like, and then the kid, like, I not only want to do some music with her, but I want her. She seems to be drawn to him. You know, I don't know how much that is written to be like, well, we know how people are drawn to Prince, so let's make this character have that same type of vibe. But it works perfectly. So when people says, the acting the acting is spot on because they're putting themselves into it. They're so great at who they are. Their personality and their persona oozes into these fictional characters, and you can believe it, even if they're not actors, because they're really just playing themselves. They're playing the image that they've been presenting to us for the last 5 years.
Yep.
And it works. So to me, Purple Rain is a fantastic movie. I think I don't speak for anybody else. I was putting the movie in this other subcategory sometimes in my mind as opposed to the rest of cinema. But if you really watch it, it is perfect cinema. It is everything a great movie is supposed to be. The music is fantastic. The director, fantastic. Listening to the commentary that he talks about, like, he's making the decision to cut it this way, to make the shots lit this way. Look at the lighting that's in the I want some action. And then look at the lighting, the light shining through the whatever the color of those windows are to give it that hue, and what they're wearing is all perfectly done, man. Like, it's a fascinating movie. He's an early director at this point doing this stuff. Prince allowing himself to be sort of guided by this gentleman to, like, I'm gonna show you in a light that's you're gonna look fantastic, man. All you got to do is just do you on the stage. I'm gonna make it look like it's a fucking thing. So it's that movie is crazy, and it still works today, and it's still fantastic. You know, the performances are fantastic, the visuals are fantastic, and Prince is wearing some outlandish stuff. If you look, looking at it now, it's like, wow, who would walk around looking like that? But you believe like he would dress like that, walking in the real world. And there's times in the movie where you get like when the When Doves Cry, when he's out, it's like, oh, he's out in the real world, and he looks like a character out of a Marvel. Like, his whole thing is, you really get a sense of the time of this movie is when they show the other shots of the cars, and the environment of the city. You're like, that's an old looking place, and these guys look like they're now. You're like, they don't look like they're of that time. So, which is another brilliant part of the movie. So I was to say, I think Purple Rain is a fantastic piece of cinema. It is when the visual part and the movie part are so gelled in that they work so well together. It's the same way to me, like a Star Wars. As great as Star Wars is, it's nothing without the music of John Williams. That's what makes it great. Like, all of them together. And if you strip one of those away, it's not going to be great. If you take away the great performances of the movie and the visuals of it, and it's all new to you, if you take one of those away, it's Graffiti Bridge. So I think Purple Rain is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
Well, you said everything that I could say, and we're running out of time. So what I do want to say are a couple of things. One, I want to share, this is from the Erotic City website, and Robin Shumay's presentation. If you want to watch one presentation to continue the conversation we've been having, she did an amazing presentation called Bluer Than Blue, Purple Rain and the Chromatic Journey from Damnation to Salvation. And she basically talks about the mental health of the characters in the Purple Rain film. And I thought that was like really, really brilliant. So I'll make sure that I put that in the accompanying playlist. And there was something else that I wanted to say, but I think it was tied to a comment that I can't find. So we will, maybe it'll come back to me, but I agree with every single thing that you said, Michael. And I think it's really important to say, because I feel that a lot of times, you know, Purple Rain as a film gets sort of talked down a bit. You know what I mean? Like it's just a vehicle for Prince. But no, it's actually, in my personal opinion, and I'm with Michael, I think it is a good film, you know, in its own right, you know, and I love Just Rule's comment here about, you know, if you're able to watch something over and over again, you know, that means that, you know, it is a great film, you know, which I think it is. So, oh, I know what it was. It was a comment from Zakia, and I never thought about this. So obviously, you know, Purple Rain is not autobiographical, but before Apollonia was attached to the film, Vanity was supposed to be in the film, and Vanity's parents are biracial. So I wonder if some of, you know, the kids' parents are based on Vanity's parents. I don't know. I think that's a really interesting comment, Zakia. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, so let me try to get through this really quick. It's still a lot I want to talk about, but we're not going to be able to talk about it in the way that I want. But so far in 1984, Prince has written 39 songs, and he has 76 studio visits total. And we won't go through all the songs. And obviously, we had the premiere and the theatrical release. Music break, we talked about this earlier. Omar was in New York last night, which is a huge deal because Omar doesn't come to the States very often. And our very own Chris Robb opened for Omar last night. And I really, really, really wish I was home so I could have seen it, but I'm not. So there you go. And I know it was phenomenal because Omar always gives a phenomenal show. This time around, he was with a live band. The last time he was in New York, he didn't have a live band. He literally sung and on the floor with us. We were in this club and there were just tables. He was literally on the floor with us, going through the tables. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. So I can't imagine what you guys experienced last night. Also, we cannot let today go by without giving a happy 80th birthday to the one and only Betty Davis, who would have been 80 yesterday on July 26th. That was her birthday, and I forgot to change the dates, but it's July 26th, and she passed February 9th in 2022. So she's been gone for a couple of years. I'll change that date to her birthday. This is a photo that was posted by Danielle Maggio, who actually knew Betty in her later years, and I had never seen this photo before, so I want to give thanks to Danielle for posting this amazing photo. Always love seeing the photos of Betty Davis. And also, I put in the company playlist. I did a Betty Davis symposium back in 2018, if I have my dates right. Yeah, that's the year of Love Sexy, because I did it a week before the Love Sexy symposium. So if you don't know who Betty Davis is, actually the late, great Greg Tate actually gave a presentation at that particular symposium. So I highly recommend that you watch the Betty Davis symposium if you haven't, and it's in the company playlist. Then we talked about this last week, but it's actually coming up really quickly. Funk Jazz Cafe, aka Jason Orr, is celebrating 30 years of Funk Jazz Cafe on Saturday, August 3rd, near the AU Center in Atlanta, the Atlanta University Center. So Morehouse and Spelman at Clark, Atlanta. And he will be screening 2 films, Stepping into Tomorrow, which is a version that we saw for the Erotic City Symposium, and then Funk Jazz Cafe, Diary of a Decade. They're going to be back to back at the Ray Charles Arts Center. Highly recommend that you watch this. For the Stepping Into Tomorrow documentary, Jason literally recorded interviews with all the people that you see here, recorded new interviews with these people, not found interview footage, but he actually recorded this interview with George Duke and George Benson and Ward Ayers and Larry Mizell. If you don't know who Larry Mizell is, do your Googles, because you know him, but you might not know his name. You got C-Lee, I mean, it's not C-Lee, you got C-Lo, you got Bob James, you got Al Jarreau, Marcus Miller, Robert Glasper, Omar, who we just talked about, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Paris Strother, James M. To Me, DJ Marley Marl, Greg Tate, which we just talked about, and Larry Rosen. And then in the Funk Jazz Cafe, Diary of a Decade, he has interviews, meaning the ones that he actually shot himself, with Cornel West, with Speech, Erykah Badu, Dick Gregory, CeeLo again, Warriors again, Jamie Foxx, and Dallas Austin. So don't sleep if you're in the Atlanta area. Support Jason and the amazing work he's been doing for 30 years. And he's blossomed into an amazing filmmaker. So I hope that you will support him if you're in the Atlanta area. And really quickly, in the Purple World, hopefully you guys caught the amazing conversation, 3 hours plus conversation with Jesse Johnson that Funkatopia did. Just want to give shout out to Funkatopia for all the amazing interviews that they've been doing lately. And this one definitely didn't disappoint. So if you love Jesse, this is actually a conversation you should definitely listen to. I'll put the Andre one in the playlist, but this one is definitely in the playlist. And then we are not that far away from Come 30 Virtual Symposium, which will be August 10th and 11th. So I hope to see you guys there. And we will be having a version of What Did Prince Do This Week through the Virtual Symposium platform. So I'll give you a heads up. If you come here on this date on YouTube, you won't see us on YouTube. You're going to have to come to the conference platform, which is just Zoom events. So most people have Zoom, but it's going to be a conference platform called Zoom Events. And then I'm sure some of you guys heard that they announced the dates for Celebration 2025, which I'm very happy that they've announced them very early. So it's going to be June 5th through 9th, 2024, Thursday through Monday. So we're back at Prince's birthday, which I really appreciate. And because I think we should celebrate his birth. And I know Prince didn't celebrate his birthday, blah, blah, blah. But I celebrated Prince's birthday when he was alive, and will continue to do so until I am no longer here, because I think it's important. So they made a lot of other announcements, but if you went to Celebration, you've seen them, or other people are talking about them online, and we don't have time to go through all of them. And go ahead.
What do you think of they've announced that the focus is going to be Purple Rain again, right?
Yes, the focus is going to be Purple Rain again. Obviously some people are upset, and you know me, I wish I could remember the exact quote. Remember last week we read a Prince quote at the beginning of one of the chapters, and he talked about how basically he kept moving on, you know what I mean? Like it was on to the next, so to speak. So, I mean, obviously, because I'm doing an Around the Rolling the Day symposium next year that I'm calling Pop Life 40, and I'm also doing a Gold Experience virtual symposium, I think it's important to celebrate Around the Rolling Day. I think it's just as important as Purple Rain, but that's because I think all Prince albums are important. And I think the Gold Experience is also a really important and pivotal Prince record. So, but I'm gonna celebrate, him in that way. But at the same time, I understand Purple Rain. We talked about this last week. It's really the entry point for a lot of new fans, and there might be fans who weren't able to get to Paisley Park for whatever reason this year. So they're giving them another chance, to experience that. So I'm not mad at them. But me personally, I really want to make sure we don't skip Around the Rolling the Day and the Gold Experience and Exodus for that matter, because Exodus was there's an Exodus anniversary as well. So that's my personal opinion.
I will just add that it's just more affirmation and confirmation why the work that both of y'all do is important. I think and I know that I say this a lot, and you cannot. I need you two to both understand, along with several other people. You guys are doing critically important work, so that not only does Prince not become forgotten, but that he doesn't become a caricature of one album, that he doesn't become a caricature of one moment. And so I've learned over my years, you guys are actually implementing what I had to learn over years. You can either complain or you can work it like a job. Neither of you complain. Neither of you bash the estate. Neither of you talk about how come they ain't doing this. Neither of you know what y'all do? You put on your big boy and big girl drawers and panties. You roll up your sleeves because you're willing to do the work. And so, and I said this before, I'm saying this to everybody in the chat now. I'm saying this to everybody around the world who watches this. If you have some Prince information, it is your job to share that information so it is recorded and documented so that we get a well-rounded, fully dimensional understanding of who Prince is. The estate is going to do what the estate is going to do. We're going to buy it. We're going to support it. But we also need to uplift all these other platforms. Podcast Juice, Polysolid, Funkatopia, Prince's Friend. What's the brother and his girlfriend from London? I always forget them.
The Violet Reality.
Erica Thompson stuff. People I'm forgetting.
Kanisa.
Say it again.
Kanisa.
Darling Nisa, yes, we need to uplift all of the platforms because we are the storytellers. Poet and novelist Alice Walker made it clear. We are the ones for whom we are waiting. We are the ones for whom we are waiting. Nobody has any more right to tell their story and tell this story. So support the work of Brother Dean and Professor Duff and everybody else. And then that way we don't have to just complain. It becomes a supplement to what the estate is doing. So I want to say publicly, thank both of y'all. Because instead of, look, nothing comes from talkers but sound. Nothing comes from dreamers but dreams. We can dream all we want to, but the world keeps going round and round, and you two are making sure that as that world goes around, that the proper information of Prince is being told. I'll shut up.
I want to add some more people because the thing is so many people doing so many things that, you know, it's not like we want to not talk about them, but it's just so many people. So obviously we can't leave out Dr. Funkenberry. We cannot leave out Rodney Fitzgerald with Prince 365. We cannot leave out the Prince, Peach and Black podcast. And there's so many others. So if we left someone out, it was not intentional. It's just that there's so many people doing the work, and we appreciate everybody and all of them. Because I know someone's going to say, "Well, you didn't say X." Again, we're not.
Richard Cole.
Yes, Richard Cole. This Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson, yeah.
Yes, I mean, and then also Kirsty Fairclough, who's also doing a lot of the symposiums, and then Arun Saldana, and then you got Zaire Ali with the PrinceSyllabus.com. You got Vanille Dash, who's been writing about him for years. You got Miles Marshall Lewis, who interviewed Prince. And you got Elliot Powell. You know, there's a lot of people
on Twitter too that put stuff down.
Yes, you have Miss TLC. You have, you know, Tammy Sharp doing the Under Cherry Moon excursions. I mean, we got Chris Robb who can, you know, just so many. You got Law. You got so many people who are actually doing the work, and we love everybody. So again, if we didn't say somebody's name, it was not because we're just running out of time, and we support anybody who's trying to keep Prince's name on the lips of the children. So want to make sure we say that. All right. So with that being said, the company playlist, definitely watch the American video. If you've never seen the American video, watch the American video. If you've never heard the 21-minute, 46-second version of Prince's America, listen to that version. And then I have some videos of the MTV premiere party, as well as a longer version and some other footage. have Michael Dean's interview with the Club Housequake Purple Rain audio drama. I have the Betty Davis Symposium. I'll add the Purple Rain movie presentations, including Robin's, and the accompanying playlist. And then next week, for week 31 of What Did Prince Do This Week, we're going to be reading, small reading, just 3 pages, 372 to 375. We're going to be talking about Happy Birthday, Mr. Christian. So you know who we're going to invite. None other than Zach Hoskins, who's my go-to Apollonia 6 person, who also presented at the Erotic City Symposium about Apollonia with his talk, Nobody Wants to Talk About Apollonia 6. So I'm really excited about next week because I love the Apollonia 6 album, as most of you know. And yes, Duane, Duane, thank you so much. There's so many. We're blessed as a community with all the people who keep it truthful and real. And yes, we didn't even talk about the writers. I mean, so Duane, you're one of the writers, but we talk about you and lift up your name every single week. But in addition to Duane, there's also Pure Nelson, which we've already talked about. There's Andrea Swinson. There's Alan Light. There's Matt Thorne. And we could go on and on and on and on. And someone's going to say, you forgot to say X. It's just that there's so many. And I think it's really important.
We like chocolate ice cream. Leave it alone.
Yes.
That's the inside joke, Brother D. You got that joke. So we like chocolate ice cream. It ain't nothing against vanilla. So all the vanilla mafia out there, it ain't that we dislike vanilla. We like chocolate ice cream. Ain't nobody dissing vanilla ice cream. Get off your, anyway, let's move on.
Yes. So we, I would love to. I think that's harder than, it's like some people, it's like, there's a question, can you get an interview with Apollonia? It's harder to get interviews with certain people. And Apollonia has our own podcast, which is really amazing. So like, if you haven't been checking out Apollonia's podcast, you should definitely check it out because, you know, my favorite thing was that they got Apollonia 6 back together again. It was amazing to hear from Susan Moonsey and Brenda Bennett.
That was great.
That was amazing.
You know, I would always add, and I think my thing too, you know, the interviews are great, is I want the protege or the associated artist, whatever you want to call it, I want them to tell their own stories. You know what I mean? Like I want them to, just like what Apollonia did, create their platform and put the narrative out unfiltered the way they want to. I think we need that. You know, I love Jill Jones online and everything, and she always has a lot of great things to say. Could be controversial, whatever, but I want her to really, like, I would love to. She just said, you know, let me turn on my mic and put on and let me say the stories. You know what I'm saying? Stream of conscious or Jesse or whoever. More, I really want them to have an opportunity to put that stuff out so that we can hear it from them. And it ain't like people like me asking them questions. It's just like, yo, let me share some experiences that I went through so y'all can really feel, you know what I mean? I think that's just the next thing, man. The books are great. I love the books, but to hear it come from their mouth, hear the expression, the emotion of when they remember certain things, I think that's the next thing. And I say I want it to come from them so that they can reap whatever rewards or spoils come from that, go to them, that they can control it. You know what I'm saying? The tools to do it are out here for free. If we can use all these tools, they can use all these tools. And that's what I would love to see next, man. You know?
Yeah, I do want to wrap it up just to be respectful of everyone's time, but I am really looking forward to this audiobook that Jesse talked about. And I think that's going to be really important because, like I've said this a gazillion times, I still want this to happen. So I speak it to the universe. I would love to hear Morris Day read his own audiobook. That would be phenomenal. And I love all of the books that have been written. So I'm hoping that there will be more books, you know, like Jill, you know, should write her own book, you know, like there's so many books that should be written. And now is the time to do it because tomorrow is never promised. You just never know, right? So I'm hoping that we'll get more books. Like I'm waiting for like a book 2 from Morris Day and Brown Mark because like I felt like I wanted to hear more about, you know, like their post-Prince experiences and things of that nature. So, yep. All right. Thank you so much to each one of you and everybody that's in the chat. And we're very happy for that Ricky joined us. Celie, did you want to say something?
2 quick things. I don't know if you can add it to the playlist, but I thought about that episode of Betty Davis from the animation Tour Bus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if you can add that, but if you guys have never seen, there's an animated series. It was 2 years. Animated series called Tour Bus or Chronicles from the Tour Bus.
Mm-hmm.
The Time is featured. Rick James and Prince is featured, and they have an episode on Betty Davis. They are hilarious. So if you can't, if Prof Duff can't get the Betty Davis episode in the audio list, go check that out. And then the other thing, I just wanted to answer Barbara Wise's question. It was way back because it wasn't dealing with Purple Rain. She asked me, when did I first get exposed to Prince's work? And my uncle had the 45 Soft and Wet. So that was the first time. And I think it was a radio promo because I had folks who worked at the radio station. I'm not even sure that it was an actual one that he bought or if he got from a radio promo. So just to Barbara Wise's question, the very first time I'd heard of who Prince was 1978, Soft and Wet, promo 45. And then a year later, I busted up the 6th grade end of the school year party because I brought Still Waiting, and we were singing so loud the teacher stopped the party. So we busted up the 6th grade end of the school year party with Still Waiting the next year. All right, I'll shut up now.
All right, Michael Dean, take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a great time. Once again, we appreciate y'all joining us this Saturday. Thank you to Celie, Ricky for bringing the heat and great conversation as always. Thank you, D'Angela, for setting us up as always. And work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.